Hi, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Susan Buchser-Lochocki, and I'm going to read the next part 4 of If You Were There When They Signed the Constitution. Okay, so let's begin. We are now in Philadelphia. What did they do while they waited for enough people to show up? So, the early arrivals had to wait until delegates from at least 7 states arrived before the convention could begin. They went to parties and taverns. Philadelphia was the largest city in America, and there was much to see and do. But mostly, the early arrivals talked and argued about what to do about writing a constitution. James Madison had a plan. Oh, whoops, I forgot to show you the pictures. Sorry. Okay. There are the words and the pictures. So they were having fun while waiting. So James Madison had a plan. He had spent a whole year reading everything he could on government. For all his quiet and bookish ways, Madison was a very smart politician. He knew that if he could get his plan talked about first, other people might never get a chance to bring up their own plans. Madison's plan would come to be called the Virginia Plan. The Virginia Plan did away with the one state, one vote rule in the other Articles of Confederation, in the old Articles of Confederation. Under the Virginia Plan, the new Congress would be based on how many people lived in each state. If one had more people than the other, it would have more power. Madison's plan gave the national government real power over the states. It would be able to make war and control trade and money. I'll read the other side and then show you the words. When the convention finally opened, where did the delegates meet? They met at the Pennsylvania State House, or, as people were already beginning to call it, Independence Hall. It was here that Thomas Jefferson had his first read his Declaration of Independence to many of the same men who were now gathering to write the Constitution. Behind the building was a garden, or a mall, as it was called. The trees on the mall were small then, and they didn't give much shade in the hot sun of summer. Across the street was the city jail, a stone prison, 4 stories high. Many of the people were in there because they could not pay their debts. As the delegates walked to the work, the inmates of the jail would stick out their hats on long poles and beg for money. There are no pictures for these 2 things, just words. So don't forget, you can pause it and read it yourself if you want. You can still visit Independence Hall today, and it looks very much the same. It is a graceful red brick building with tall windows. The convention was mostly held in the East Room, a comfortable room about 40 feet by 40 feet, probably more than twice the size of your classroom, but smaller than your gym. The delegates sat around tables covered with green cloths, about 3 or 4 to a table. Then when you visit Independence Hall, you immediately feel that this is a good room for a debate. Not too fancy, yet filled with light from the great tall windows on each side. Finally, on Friday, May 25th, 1787, there were enough delegates to begin. What were the delegates like? They were all white men, and they were far richer than the average person who lived at that time. Tiny Rhode Island refused to send anybody to the convention. The other 12 states elected 74 delegates, but only 55 delegates showed up. On most days, there were only 30 or 40 delegates working. So here we have a picture of Independence Hall and the words. And there we go. So just like one more page. The youngest delegate was Jonathan Dayton of New Jersey, who was 27. The oldest delegate was Ben Franklin, who was 81. Most of the leaders were in their early 30s. 30 of the delegates had served in the army during the Revolutionary War. Half of them were lawyers. All of them were well known in their states. But there is no way that the numbers can tell you about them. Let's look more closely at a few of them. So I guess this is where we'll stop for today. There we go. All right, thank you very much for stopping by. Tomorrow I will read the next section and we'll continue. All right, we're getting through the book. It might take us about 8 parts, but slowly but surely. All right, so I wish you a good day. Thanks for stopping by in my kitchen.